My name's Brandon Pardo. I'm the Director of Student Services. Uh, I've been in this role for this is my fourth year. Prior to that, I was the high school principal here at Williamsport for 8 years. I was a middle school principal prior to that for 7 years. And then prior to that, I was an elementary principal for 8 years. So I've been up and down the chain, I guess, as far as building level administration's concerned. Um, I've worked with Justin for a number of years, even like Kelly said, back when he was doing alternative education at Round Hills Elementary. Um, and really this is an opportunity for us just to kind of get together and share with you what we have in place in our district and how it originated and how we follow through with it. But nonetheless, like we're not saying it's absolutely perfect and it may not be the exact way that you may go about doing it, but it's the way that has worked well for us. And I think it's pretty comprehensive. And this is something that has evolved over probably a t- a 12 to 14 year, 15-year period. Like this is not something that was put in last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. Like we have worked on this literally since the inception of PBIS at the secondary level for a number of years. So that's really important for you to understand. The hardest, it's like dieting or exercising. The hardest thing about it is getting started. So once you get started, you just continue to build off of it and work from there. But I'll turn it over to Justin so he can introduce himself and what he's been doing here the last couple of years.
So my name is Justin Ross. I'm the head high school principal at Williamsport. I spent about 7 years as a secondary special education supervisor. I spent 3 years as the freshman principal with Dr. Pardo as the head principal. And then I was middle school principal for 5 years. And this is my fourth year back at the high school. So we've worked together for a long period of time. And we've crafted and recrafted our school-wide expectations in the same school. And then we had the ability to try and formulate a 7-12 plan together for a 5 year period of time. So our goal today, we have goals of the presentation. We want to share with you what Williamsport High School looks like. Um, we'll emphasize the importance of leadership and consistency. So you'll hear from us multiple times today talk about the idea that a principal and or multiple principals in your school should be part of the team, should be a driving force behind it. It is the only way that we know that it works in our setting at least. And then lessons that we've learned over the last 10, 12, 14 years, and then hopefully a blueprint that you can at least see and then add to, take away from, and anything that you want to do from that point. Any questions for us as we get started? You want to go over this?
Yeah. So I think that's a really good point that Justin made is that what we've really zeroed in on as a district, and it's important to emphasize because we attempted PBIS in a lot of schools, whether you're elementary, middle, or high, attempt to get PBIS up off the ground with like a teacher group facilitating that and what have you. But what we have found, and I just want to emphasize, is that we did not get traction to our committee and move through a process where we're making significant gains in this particular area until it was being facilitated and led by a building level principal or administrator. So I really feel like that's a hard emphasis because a lot of people, if the administrator's not bought in, nobody else will be bought in. That's been our experience. And that's where we believe we've seen some of our successes. Just a little bit about Williamsport. We are in north central Pennsylvania, basically. We're about an hour and a half from the New York border, right in the middle of the state. Our total enrollment of students here at the high school is around 1,400, 14 to 1,500. You can see what our student teacher ratio is, our gender, our ethnicity, our economically disadvantaged. We're pushing 60%. Our special education numbers. and English language learners, as well as homeless students. Interesting, just to emphasize lately, what's going on is since we're returning to school in 2 weeks, we've identified or classified 22 new homeless students in our school district. So it's just a demonstration as to what happens in schools and communities at the change of a school of a calendar year, as well as the time of year of things that are going on.
We've tried to include pictures also. So on the right side, uh, students came to us and asked for parking. They wanted to follow the trend of paying their parking spots, and like a lot of things that you will see, we've just built it into our Top Hat Pride system. So one item, if they are good academic standing, they're following our demerit policy that we have in place and we'll share later. They're able to paint their parking spots as seniors as we start the school year. So we'll try to highlight pictures as we go through the presentation also.
And also about the programming that we have available here at Williamsport is that we are a comprehensive high school, meaning that we have 14 career and technical education programs with under roof. So it's interesting enough, which is really unique for us here in Williamsport, is that a student can take AP courses as well as participate in a career and technical education program. So you can see what we have to offer students, a vast variety of AP courses, as well as the career and technical education programs that we do have in place.
I'm on professions in education. Our newest one in red at the bottom is professions in education, and it is going very well for us on this campus that we're offering general education courses for students that want to become teachers after graduation from high school.
I'd like to add like how that came about too. Coming out of COVID, and I think all school districts are in our profession is noticing is just the lack of interest of people coming into education. So the district in itself took the standpoint of saying like, look, how can we get ourselves aligned in order to promote people within, students within who want to consider a career in education. So, lo and behold, we pursued the general education SIP, put a program in place. We have outstanding people leading that program right now, and we're getting a lot of traction out of it. Like kids are going into higher ed, majoring in education, looking to hire them back once they complete their pre-service teaching experience at the college level. So kudos to the staff here and our district for taking that on to try to not just complain like, oh, we're not getting applicants, we're not getting this, but to do something in a positive step to really generate interest to our profession.
Any questions for us before we move forward? Okay. So what you're seeing next is our Top Hat Pride brochure. This is available in our main office and it's on our website. You see what makes up um, our team being present, respectful, responsible, safe, and professional. Our K to 8 follows the first four B's up to safe. The high school has added that professional piece. We did that from the onset of our team, and we'll show you how it's layered in. On the left side, we have our committee members and our principal team. And then on the reverse side, you can see some of our advanced tier programming on the right. In the middle, you can see our consistency rubric. Also in the middle, you can see our demerit system. And then on the left, you can see our behavior expectations being defined over there. So it's just a quick reference. It's much more detailed than this, but people can access this quickly on our website and or they can grab a copy in our main office when they come in.
I think part of it too is what Justin pointed out in the brochure is just the reason why we have it outlined in such a fashion is that it's really important that we share a consistent message to our stakeholders, whether it's students, parents, teachers, community members, as to what we're doing here in Williamsport when it comes to PBIS. So we did talk about and mentioned, uh, you know, the factors or the major factor in getting things up off the ground, which is the principal leadership on the team, and then the ability to communicate across grade level, that common person that's able to bring everybody together within this system here at the high school, uh, regardless of the content department or anything along those lines, and communicating the common expectations that all staff follow within the system. So I think Justin did a nice job of creating the diagram on the side of the screen that really emphasizes the factors that really have a part in our programming here. None is more important than the other. It's basically those categories that we have to live in order to have a successful program. So it ranges anywhere from data collection to data sharing. How do we reinforce those positive behaviors? Making sure that we do have those behaviors defined and that we are properly teaching them as to what's expected, and then tracking students in their successes within the school, or unfortunately, their lack of successes in the school. We'll get into it a little bit later in the presentation, just the growth that we've made, even like in a traditional in-school suspension type of environment, which we will touch upon, which I think will be really helpful for you. And then just making sure that all staff is consistent with the expectations that we have set forth for everyone in the school.
I think one thing that emphasizes that system of reinforcing positive behaviors, we have it. We have it clearly defined. We have it that it's very consistent, but it does not trump any of the other four areas there. So I believe the first thing you're going to hear from a secondary teacher, I don't want, or secondary students should know how to act. We shouldn't be rewarding them, and we make sure that every one of those five items up there is an equal part. We definitely reward for positive behaviors. We definitely have a Top Hat Pride ticket. It helps them get into sporting events. It helps them with things in the building. It helps them with things out of the building. Uh, Tomorrow night is our winter formal dance. They could have got free tickets for the winter formal dance with their Top Hat Pride ticket. So there are definitely things built in, but they are built in the flow of our building, and it's not like this big extra over the top menu of options for students. So I just want to make sure like it's 1/5 of the pie. That seems to be where most secondary teams get stuck on. Questions for us?
I think the first step is, and this matrix was created a significant time of year, but probably the kickoff of our PBIS system. Now, I do need to tell you, we're going to go under an overhaul or a revisit this summer. And the reason why we're doing that is we've just completed a 4-year implementation of becoming a trauma-informed school following the neurosequential model in education, where we spent the last 4 years training all 7 of our schools in Bruce Perry's neurosequential model, where we are not only have the expectations set for students to meet, but we believe that it's our professional job, our professional commitment to understand the purpose or how the brain works in student response to things that behavior that may be occurring in school. So we really zero in on the regulate, relate, reason, the 3 R's, where we are communicating to staff on how to deal with dysregulated students, but then also emphasizing the need for our staff to be regulated, because anytime when you take a dysregulated adult and pair them up with a dysregulated adolescent, um, the recipe fails every time. So we really emphasize that. I think it's something we'll talk about towards the end, that Justin's done an exceptional job of really building in NM practices for our staff to engage in and to emphasize the need for them to be regulated and healthy in order to address the needs of our students. So the expectations defined on this, we have posters, we have lessons that have been developed that we emphasize several times throughout the course of the year, depending on what the data is showing. Some of the things that have been revisited over the last 4 years is our cell phone procedures policy within the school. Can students have cell phones? Yes, they can, but they've developed a really nice procedure in the school of common expectations as to when and where students can have them. The same goes for dress code. Prior to revisiting, we had a fairly, I don't know, robust, I want to say, dress code policy. But yet, with the change in fashion and tying things to safety and the environment, that was revisited as well. So I think they've done a nice job of responding to those needs. And there is a link in the presentation to a resource folder that hopefully people can have access to the documents that have been created throughout the years here in Williamsport.
So this next slide is just you saw the big chart. We do expect a teacher to have either their classroom expectation poster that's on this page or the last framework, the grid, posted in their classroom. It is part of our walkthrough document also, so that we check the box that they do have it posted as an expectation. But we have a graphic arts department in our building, commercial art department, and they help us print these each summer. So you can see the different locations of the building along with the different they'll be posting all the locations of the building, either this one or the other poster. Questions about behavior expectations defined.
I think it's important to point out too that these weren't just like the administrator saying like this is what's going to
Yeah.
happen. They were developed from the committee as to what those common expectations that everybody could support. So it takes time. I truly believe that it takes a year of planning and meetings in order to get these things in place just to begin and kick off events that are happening in the school or getting those things down in place and teaching the staff what those common expectations are and how to address them. A couple other things that Justin can touch on is just some other aspects that we've built in and developed over the course of the last 14 years and to enhance the whole teaching of behavioral expectations.
Mhm. So we're going over to our teaching expectations. We do it's actually Dr. Pardo's hard work. We started Link Crew opening day. So Link Crew is a program that is just for freshmen. We attached our National Honor Society students at the junior and senior level with our Link Crew program. So Link Crew is a national program. Our freshman principal has been trained in the program. It is a transition day only for freshmen, and when you're inviting 400 new students onto a campus, it is a nice program to get the first day started. So you can see what our Link Crew opening day program was by clicking that link. And then you can see what our first day of students, which is actually the second day of school, the opening day presentation for them is. So our freshman students get it twice. They get the expectations taught on Monday and Tuesday. Our whole building comes back and gets the expectations retaught. Our seniors have had it for 13 years now, pretty consistently, but very consistently in our building for 4 years. So we work through all those aspects. You can see our teacher presentation. So every teacher follows the same PowerPoint that our committee puts out. And then you can see my principal presentation. So we split up. Some years we split up and only take about a third of the students for a smaller group setting. Other years we bring all 1,500 students together in our auditorium and do one big presentation. But you can see an example of one of those also as you see us starting the school year on the right foot and going through our expectations. Next week on Tuesday, when the second semester begins, we will do a booster session, same type of idea. There'll be some time for the teachers to touch upon data points, and then there'll be time for all of us to come together in the auditorium just to touch base one more time.
Kelly, I like to ask the question of the audience, just a hand raise, and then maybe you can just tell us if there are people out there. Anyone familiar with Link Crew or has Link Crew in place in their districts? So if that is the case, I think it's important that, just to touch on that a little bit. So some things that we listening to students, what we found is that they struggled coming into a comprehensive high school and really understanding or finding their niche in a school this size. And again, there's much larger schools in our Commonwealth than 1,400 students. But one of the things that they mentioned was is that lunch was really overwhelming for them. And we have two cafeterias and two lunch periods throughout the course of the day. So you know how it goes the first day of school where kids are trying to figure out where they're sitting. We don't have assigned seats and that kind of thing. But it was really helpful for our incoming freshmen to have the school to themselves for a day where they focused on team building, linking them up with an upperclassman mentorship group, and then having them experiencing lunch of just freshmen in our cafeteria so they weren't overwhelmed on the day that we had all students in school, which is actually the second day of school. So the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders really liked it because they didn't come to school the first day of freshman. And the freshmen really liked it because they were the only ones here learning their school and the expectations. And then when we put them together, it just seemed to be a much better fit and transition for them to understand how the school operates and starting that school year off on the right foot. So I just want to pay tribute to that because that's a layer that we put in just for this particular school year, which we will continuing in the future.
Any questions, Kelly?
No, I just shared the link again for the resources. So if you can just use the Google link for the resources, everything should be there.
Okay.
Great.
Uh, So systems of reinforcing positive behavior. We do this in a number of different ways. Uh, the top card is our standard B card. I don't know why it's not necessarily super white, but it's just a simple white business card, and we have a clear bin in what we call our hub area where all our traffic goes through for students to drop the business card into. Teacher's name at the top, or student's name at the top. I apologize. Teacher's name at the bottom, and we do a weekly drawing. We have 6 to 10 student winners, 4 to 6 teacher winners a week, and we do gift cards based upon students' desired areas. So we had our first Chick-fil-A and Wawa open up in the area in the fall, and they are very popular items to win right now. Um, and we do typically use our 12th grade executive board and our student government association to go through with our ideas for different things like that. We do special events from time to time. We'll flip to a colored card like the yellow card that's there. And again, we have an advantage. We started to use, what company do we use?
Vistaprint.
We use Vistaprint at the beginning, but our commercial arts program has taken it over. So they switched the color card for us. So the yellow card could have been for a girls soccer whiteout event in the fall. They can by bringing the ticket, they can get a free T-shirt to the game, and then we typically do halftime competitions where they can win gift cards, whether that's a penalty shootout or hitting a crossbar closest to the center line. And we usually allow our senior students to come up with the games for each individual event. They seem to enjoy that. Sometimes we just put a stamp on it. So we'll take our generic one and just stamp it for a special event also. So we do it a couple of different ways, whichever is easiest for us in that time frame. We are good enough at it by now that we have probably 9 to 10 different colors that we get printed in the summer for special events that we do throughout the school year. So we'll do a 1 week leading up to an event blitz where we'll just say, hey, teachers, you have your regular 5 cards in your mailbox for the week, but you have 5 yellow cards. for students that are attending or plan to attend uh, the 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 event that evening. So the bottom one is actually what we did for winter formal. So if you got the stamped card over the last 2 weeks, you could put it in the prize box to win winter formal tickets. A couple ticket is $20 and an individual is 15. So, it's a nice little incentive for students. And it definitely spikes our participation. It does. So we do a little bit of everything. We try to keep it off of our team's plate and our administrator's plate. We have a system in place where our administrative support helps us. So one of our administrative support staff will pick the 10 to 15 cards out each week, and she knows the system that is in place, that she sends the email to the staff. She gets the 10 to 15 students and adults together, allows them to pick the gift card winners. It's all done without us touching the process at all. Besides, I make the announcement congratulating the winners each week. That's all I really do. So we have systems in place that it really runs without a lot of our time during the week. Questions about it? Here's an example of one of our emails that went out. So just the idea of, we say who the student winner is and link it to the staff, and then at the bottom we say who our staff winners were for the week. So that's just an example of what goes out each week to staff. It usually goes out on a Thursday afternoon, so it should be going out to staff today. And then students pick up their gift cards on Friday before the weekend hits. And then you see same deal with formal dance ticket winners. We do the same thing. So we always link it back to the teacher that gave the card out, but you see the student winners for the formal tickets there. Any questions about some of our reinforcements for positive behavior?
Hi, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's very costly with the $5 gift cards to a lot of students and like paying
Yeah.
for their entry to like a dance. How do you guys like financially support, those types of
That's a
reinforcers?
good question.
Yeah. We have three main sources. He's here so I can take a cheap shot. Dr. Pardo does give us a tiny bit of money, just a little bit of money. So there is a funding stream through the district. I believe it's about $800 a year.
450.
450.
Sorry.
It's tiny, but so that definitely doesn't touch what we need. We've been doing it for 10 years. The kids really like it. So we do the junior class this year. I hope I can get you to follow this, but the junior class this year, when we hit about March, will be able to design a shirt for next school year for the student body. Sometimes it's red, we're cherry and white, sometimes it's red, sometimes it's white, sometimes they throw black in there, depending on the year and what the students want. We typically get between 15 and 25 designs from our commercial art department. So our senior class will go to the commercial art students. They'll say, here's our vision for a shirt. Every student will be able to make a shirt design, and then the senior class gets it down to 4 designs that they like, and then our whole student body picks their favorite winner. So it's all student led for a shirt design for the year. We go out and get sponsors, sometimes as many as 12 sponsors, and we get enough shirts for the student body, but we definitely have extra money on purpose. So we will raise anywhere between $1,000 and $3,000 extra through our fundraising efforts for sponsorships on the back of that shirt, to pad our system in place that we have. And then you won't believe this, but we're a bigger campus and we have 2 vending machines that are in our commons area that our Top Hat Pride team manages, and they can raise between $300 and $400 a month to support our cause. So that helps us. And then our life skills classrooms do a snack shack, and it's about $100 we bring in a month from the snack shack. So there's all systems in place. It is all led by students, and it's very minimal work on the administrators. We do work on the shirt design some in the summer. Definitely get it ordered. Definitely get the designs on the back of it. But we have a couple different funding streams to make us. We try to make about $5,000 to fund our program each year.
I think to answer your question is there's creative ways to do that, and it's just getting the
Yeah.
committee to work together to figure it out.
Yes. That help?
Yeah, thank you. I'm in a building that's younger kids, so some
Okay.
of it, it was a great idea, especially if I can share out to older buildings,
Mhm.
like the high school, middle school. Uh, Question about like the vending machine, like, does that mean like the students are like replenishing the vending machine, or what? Can you
Yeah.
just describe that more?
So one of our principals has an online ordering system through Pepsi. She definitely does the ordering, but when it shows up, there are definitely student groups that stack it for us, and then there's our administrative support team counts our money, deposits our money, all that stuff for us.
I want to say this too, just for clarification, is that we're not selling Pepsi.
Oh, yeah, we
We're
are not selling Pepsi.
we're making water
Yes,
available. We're making sport drinks available
yes.
because the people who are using it basically the most
Mhm.
are athletes
Yes,
that are after school and that kind of thing and beginning of school. So like Gatorades, things along
yes.
those lines
All of
are
our
in there.
drink options follow the federal
Yes.
guidelines. Trust me. Yes.
Justin, just another quick question was about you purchased the vending machine yourself so that you're able to do that, or it was
Pepsi owns it.
So what in our area, and I'm sure this is the same there, is that we have an agreement with Pepsi where they provide two machines as long as we purchase the product from them. So they deliver it to the school, and then, as Justin said, the principal has access to that ordering system, and then we get students to help fill it and maintain it and make sure it's ready to go. So the bottom line is Pepsi will provide the machines for you if you purchase the product directly from Pepsi, who owns Gatorade and
Yes.
Aquafina and that kind of thing.
And especially this time of year, we'll host three major wrestling meets over weekends. We'll come back from a weekend and they'll both will be completely empty. We'll host swim districts, wrestling districts. Uh, the Harlem Wizards are coming in a couple days. All those major events, we could empty a Gatorade machine in a night or a weekend. Other questions for us?
I think one of the things too, getting to the next slide, is just the continuum of consequences. So this is something that Kelly has really um, gotten to understand is that as much as we want to say is that PBIS is what we've already talked about, like incentive based, clear expectations, those things that go along with that part of the program. What we found in our experience is that, consequences need to be shared as well. And we truly have a progressive disciplinary system in our district where we do have a continuum of consequences in for problem behaviors and just understand every situation is different. But I think when we're able to map out this kind of uh, information for parents and for students, they understand that we're truly trying to change the behavior through consequences that are progressive in nature. So we felt that this is important to include in the presentation because it is part of our system. And it's something that isn't is critical, I believe, in order to communicate, to have a reference for consistency purposes, but then also making sure that we're teaching everybody as to what those consequences are. And we'll talk about shortly here the emphasis on communication with our staff when it comes to consequences within our system.
So, everybody's new to our campus. I don't know how many people use the Swiss system out there, but we use the Swiss system for data collection. On the right side is our ODR form. For teachers, we use the three color paper forms so that the white copy, the front copy goes home to the parents. We keep a copy and we get a copy back to our teachers. Um, we try very hard to get that copy back to our teachers within 24 hours. Typically, I'd say over 95% of the time, our principals, before they leave work the same evening that they get the referral, the copy with the consequences issued on it is back in the teacher's mailbox already. Only some more complex types of things are not, but we do take pride in that. In the top right corner, that's missing from my form for some reason, we always ask the teacher of record that is calling home, or that is issuing the consequence to call home and document that call home. The principal, that grade level principal, will also place a call home and share the consequences associated with that. Um, because we're so consistent and because we've been doing it for so long, parents know exactly where we're at and what's coming next. I'd say over 90% of our parents are very good to work with. They understand where we're coming from. We try to call home, write home as often and when they're doing positive things as when negative things are happening. So they are pretty respectful of the system in place. But typically we ask for teachers by 3:15 each day to have this office. So our school day ends at 2:25. Teachers can leave at 2:50. We ask by 3:15 if they're still in the building that they have the forms to us. Principals stay until about 4:30, so we have that 3:15 to 4:30 to make our phone calls to document the consequences on it and prepare for the next day. Most days, I would say over 95% of the days, teachers by 4:30 at night in the whole building know exactly what's going on the next day. They'll have a list of who's on out of school suspension, a list of who's on in school suspension. We have a behavior modification program that we can talk about, who has detention the next night and who has lunch detention the next night. So that email goes out to all of our faculty as kind of a checks and balances, open communication system for everybody.
I think how this came about is that the process that Justin just mapped out is that diagram, that flow chart on the right hand or on my right hand side of the screen. Um, and I think the reason why we really needed to go to the form in Swiss, as well as there are other programs out there where it's electronic in nature, where you're not doing paper. But what we found is with the Swiss suite, which is our data collection system for ODRs, um, if we did those referrals electronically, the biggest question that we learned from our committee over a period of time is teachers doing an ODR never getting back what happened to the student. That's what they want to know. They want to say, okay, if I'm taking the time to complete this ODR, that means I'm following a procedure in the school or I need help with this student. So it's really a supportive branch, I want to say, that teachers use. If teachers want to take care of things in their classroom with the parent and the student, we're all for it. We're like, hey, yeah, not knock your socks off, go for it. We'll support you. But if you're going to complete an ODR, you're going to make sure that you call home to explain why the ODR was completed and give your side of the story. The reason why that's important is that when I first came into the high school here, what I heard a lot from parents was if I would have only known, I could have helped, or I could have supported, or I could have done this. So I never wanted to, we, the team, never wanted to be caught in the position of a parent saying, if I would have only known. I could have, we don't want there to be any surprises, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. The communication loop was imperative in order to keep teachers on board and to get on board with the process by following this flow chart. And it was developed as a team. There was no questions, no areas of ambiguity. It's clear as day, and it's worked out well for us. And it's taken years to get there, but we got there.
Questions about our flow chart?
Yeah, there's a few questions, Justin. I'm
Yeah.
trying to answer some of them in the chat, but I just want to give you an opportunity as well. So,
Okay.
and it's a question we get asked a lot, and so I do want to ask this one to you, but the Act 26 reportable offenses,
Yes.
there's question on the dual entry of them with Swiss, and so I was just explaining in the chat, and I probably spelled something incorrectly because I'm trying to type fast, but the Williamsport as a district utilizes the custom fields to identify what is an Act 26 reportable offense. And then those offenses are able to be, do you want to talk a little bit about how the technology has that set up? Because
Yeah. So
that's a question we get all the time.
yeah, we have two custom fields in Swiss. Act 26 is one of them. So we have two school resources officers on our campus, and so they're really good at it by now too, because it's a pain on their end also. So we have a box that we check on the ODR. It should be in the bottom right corner. If it is not, our latest one does have it, the Act 26. And so in Swiss, then you could just have that filter method that you can see all the boxes that we checked for Act 26, quickly see them, and then compare them with our school resource officer report to get those to the state level. Our other custom field is demerits, which we'll talk about soon.
And Justin, there's also interested in hearing about the Learning Center. And
Okay.
they wanted to know what LC was on your
Oh,
and I just said that was the Learning Center, and I'm sure you'll probably talk more about that.
I think so.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So the next is okay to go on.
Yep, those were
Okay.
I think I got most of them.
So
If not, they'll let me know.
I don't know how I have names at the bottom. I'm sorry. I don't know how I did that. Yeah. Anyways, so this is an email that comes out from our Learning Center coordinator each day. And so it is our you've heard our communication and our checks and balances quite a few times, but this is a daily report that shows where every student was inside a framework. I say this was a Friday at the end of the day that this came out. So you're going to say who you're going to see at the top who's in behavior modification, who is in school suspension, and then who received the timeout inside our learning center. Uh, I believe we'll talk about our learning center in more detail soon. You'll see your out of school suspensions, and then you'll see your after school detentions. And they also say yes, who attended versus no, who did not attend. And this goes out to our whole faculty and staff so everybody can see in a transparent format who was supposed to be where and who actually got to where they were supposed to be for that day. Okay. Then what you see come out from us as principals, this is after this email goes out. So after we've recapped our whole day Friday and received new off ODRs, we lay out what our Monday is going to look like. So we show you the out of school suspensions, the in school suspensions, the students in behavior modification, and the students attending after school detention. And that goes back out to our whole staff so transparently everybody can see. So if a student skips detention on a Friday, they are to have in school suspension and detention on a Monday, and every staff should be able to see that process play out as we go through. So we stress communication, closing the communication circle, and also we did not talk about this yet, but for principals doing the same thing in different grade levels, we have to talk often and have to be on the same page because we have students in ninth and we can have a family with a student ninth grade and a student 12th grade. We can have a teacher with a student in 10th grade and a student in 11th grade. And we want to make sure we are following our continuum that our team has set up. If we are off our continuum, we are communicating why to both the parent and the teacher and making sure all principals are on the same page through that process. Any questions about that?
They're asking about examples of behavior modification.
Okay, so behavior modification is a program. I don't know if we're gonna get to the learning center.
Let's
Okay.
we're yeah. Yeah.
So we're to the learning center. We could
This is the perfect
yes.
opportunity.
So our learning center is a location or building. It is a big classroom in our buildings that students can spread out in, but it serves three roles. It is our in-school suspension room. It is
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
behavior modification location, and then it is also location for students to take time out. So if you see on this report on this given Friday, we had one, two, three, four, five timeouts in a day. I do take great pride in that idea when you're thinking about a building of 1,450 plus students and five students because of causing a disruption in their classroom setting had to be removed for the day. I think that's a pretty good number to be at. So any teacher can send a student to our learning center in a three-strike policy, so they're reteaching their expectation twice, and then on the third time, if they are not following through with what that expectation is, they can send them to the learning center as part of our flow chart here. So students take a timeout for that class period. So you can see this first student took a timeout for second period. They would return to their schedule third through seventh period for that day. You see, we had three fourth period timeouts and a seventh period timeout on that day, but that's a reason to use our learning center. So it is a spot. We do have a teacher that runs it for ISS and timeout. We do start and end our day with a special education teacher in the learning center. They do a check-in, check-out with any special education student in there. We've worked with our special education department. Our special education liaisons at the state level have approved this behavior modification process. And so students in behavior modification, that day is not counting as a change in placement for them. They are following their schedule from first through seventh period. They are being retaught the reason that they're there. And we have a documented sheet showing the reteaching each day and a documented sheet showing their seven periods, what work they had, what work they completed with a special education teacher. So that is not considered a change in academic placement for the day. I'm sure everybody on the Zoom can understand that that provides us with some flexibility, especially with special education students.
Justin, I'm not sure if you said this or not, but I believe also the learning center, if students are placed in the learning center, there's also an after school detention issued
Yeah,
as
go ahead.
well.
Yeah.
And
You want to show the video, see if the video helps?
Yeah.
there's
Well,
just there was one question just on do students try to go there to get out of class? And so I know there's an additional layer of consequence by visiting the learning center also.
yeah. Yeah. So I'll comment on that. Like if a student
Yeah.
is asked to go to the learning center as a removal of class because they're being disruptive or others peers can't learn or the teachers can't teach, then yes, that's followed up with a required detention the next day for that student. Depending on the severity and how everything worked and that kind of thing, every situation's different. I think what's really important is that I want to share is that and this is the area of growth that we've gone through, the development that we've gone through over our duration of PBIS. The Learning Center used to be basically like your traditional ISS room, where we did provide support services, special education services for students, so we could use it for either or without a change of placement. But I do think what's important is we have evolved where the Learning Center used to just be a traditional ISS holding area for disruptive kids. That's what happened. What it is now, and a lot of it, your programs are only as good as the people running them, right? So, John Gosner, who is the Learning Center coordinator, you're going to see a brief video with him, I believe. Um, got in there 3 years ago, and I believe, along with the help and support of Justin and myself and everybody involved, is we've transformed it into a more restorative place for kids. Consequences, kids are still there, but John has implemented ripple effects, which is basically uh, a curriculum that kids can engage in to teach solutions to undesirable behaviors that are restorative in nature, that students can participate in and complete in order to reduce time in the learning center. Because if a student is assigned to in-school suspension or behavioral modification in the learning center, they don't leave. Like they're there. They don't eat lunch with their peers. They have to stay after school. Work is being monitored of them completing. We have Go Guardian with regard to Chromebook usage. There's a lot of oversight there. So kids will actually, thanks to John figuring this out, is they'll actually work in order to be able to go have lunch with their peers. So if they have a good morning, they're completing work, they're doing what they need to do, they're processing the behavior, they're participating in ripple effects. They may be given permission to go and have lunch with their peers during their normal lunch time that day, understanding that they have to return and continue engagement during that time in the learning center. Then the next half of the day, detentions can be reduced based upon their engagement in the second half of the day. So they have that opportunity to work themselves out of an initial consequence. So what Justin has put up here is just some initial data collection that has helped with that. I'll let him cover that, and then I think that will lead us into his video about the Learning Center and what it is.
So Mr. Gosner actually put this data together for us, but you can see that our Learning Center was utilized in the spring of 2024 by 440 total students. It was actually 440 occurrences of students, 100 by 185 students. You see that number drop in the fall of 2024. You see it go up a little bit in the spring of 2025. And then you see that he believes through his data collection that 65% of the students who are spending time in the Learning Center are working on their work an overwhelming majority of the time. So I guess Kelly, to answer your question, I don't believe there ever was a time that a student really tried to get to the Learning Center ever, but they not only are they not trying to get there, but the students that are there are having significant work completion. We're getting that work back to the teachers at a much higher rate than we did in previous years before that spring of 2024.
We will talk about our demerit system too, and time spent in the learning center, whether it's a detention or an in-school or a behavior mod, is tied to that demerit system as well. And we'll make that connection for you here in a minute.
I hope this video works.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another brand new school year. We are excited that you're here, and we are looking forward to everything that is ahead of us with this school year. So I appreciate Dr. Ross giving me a few moments of your time just to explain to you how things work if you end up in the Learning Center for a day. Before I get started, I also like to thank Ms. Differ for allowing me to use her office to make this video. This is a really nice place. Look at these windows, great light. This desk, oh, she's got it really good. So anyways, as I was saying, my purpose here this morning is just to make sure that we all have the same understanding and expectation if you end up in the Learning Center for the day. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. Now, you might remember this, but if not, if you're assigned a day in the Learning Center, please know that you also have detention that afternoon. That's really kind of a non-negotiable. If there's some problem with scheduling or something else, you need to take that up with your grade level principal. That's not something that we can change for you in Learning Center. But if you end up in the Learning Center for the day, you have detention that afternoon. The Learning Center is also going to follow the bell schedule, just like the rest of the building. Now, that may seem like common sense, but I want to make sure we understand that. There are expectations each period of the day of what you'll be doing when you're in the Learning Center. Now, starting first period, you'll have the option, and you'll get to make decisions each period of how you want to use your time. Do you want to work on assignments that your teachers have set up for you? Do you want to work on assignments for your classes that are posted in Schoology? Perhaps you brought class assignments with you. If you're not ready to do some of that, then you can work on that program we use in the Learning Center called Ripple Effects. That's all done on your Ripple Effects is all done on your Chromebooks. I'll explain a little bit more about that here in a few minutes. Now, we'll revisit this option each period of the day. Okay. So, and the way that'll work is if you're in the Learning Center for a day, you'll conference with me each period or every other period, just kind of depending on how things are going in here. And we'll monitor your progress and what you've been doing, what you've been completing, that sort of thing. And the expectation is that over the course of the day, you will complete assignments for your classes here at the high school along with Ripple Effects lessons. And the expectation for Ripple Effects is that you'll complete at least 6 of those lessons each day. Again, more on that here in another couple of minutes. Completion of assignments for your classes, along with Ripple Effects lessons, and then most importantly, along with appropriate behavior in the Learning Center is how you earn your points. And I'm telling you, you want to earn those points because we offer some incentives now. Students earn 1 point per period. It's pretty simple. It's not a complicated process. You either earn the point for the period or you don't. And you earn that point by working most or all of a class period on either class assignments or Ripple Effects lessons. Now, you may be asking yourself, why? What's in it for me? I'm in the Learning Center. I don't have to do anything. I don't want to do anything, whatever. Well, we offer you some incentives to earn those points. And the incentives, quite simply, can be summed up with your time. You know, if you earn 5 points in the morning, remember periods 1 through 5, it's 1 point per period. If you earn 5 points in the morning, then you earn the privilege of being able to go to the cafeteria for lunch. We do second lunch in the Learning Center. So earn those points, and you don't have to eat that bag lunch, that peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You can go to the cafeteria, have the full menu, sit with your friends. So it's a great opportunity for you. Earn some of you, do what you're supposed to do. You get some of your time back. Get yourself back from lunch on time. Work 6th and 7th period, earn 2 more points, get 7 points on the day. We have the ability to excuse you from detention. So come to the, if you're assigned to the Learning Center, come here, do what you're supposed to do. You get your time back. You earn your time back. That is incredibly valuable. Now, the downside. Consequences are simple. Don't do what you're supposed to do. Don't earn those points. Well, then you're on the hook for all the time in the Learning Center. Okay. You're going to stay here for lunch, the bag lunch. You're going to be expected to stay for detention. You can't earn the incentives. All right. So come in here, do what you're supposed to do. Don't let this be something that you have to be worried about. Now, also know this though, consequences. If you don't earn the excuse from detention, and you spend a day in the Learning Center, you're like, forget this, I'm not staying for detention. You walk out of here. Please know, you're going to be back in the Learning Center the next day. And you're going to stay in the Learning Center until you serve that detention. Skipping detention is a good way not to get any incentives. All right. You've got to do what you're supposed to do if you're spending the day in the Learning Center. Now, points, let's make sure we all understand points as well. It's 1 point per period. You either earn the point or you don't. All right.
We just stopped it there. So if you want to watch the rest of the video, it is in our PowerPoint. We didn't know we were down the 2 or 3 minutes, but real quick, we can review our demerit policy. So our demerits go with any extracurricular activity. So if a student wants to attend a night sporting event activity, they must be under the 6 demerits for the semester. If they want to attend a homecoming dance, a winter formal, they must be under the 6 demerits. We've actually tied attendance to that this year to address another concern of ours in the building with our dance options. But so any detention is 1 demerit, any in-school suspension or behavior modification is 2 demerits, and any out-of-school suspension is 3 demerits. Students understand that if they are involved in a fight in this building, that they would lose their privileges for that semester off the bat. We made a change about 2 years ago based upon staff coming to us and students coming to us. It used to be 12 demerits for the year and you were done, 6 for the first semester. If you're between 6 and 12, when the second semester starts, which is tomorrow, or ends is tomorrow, starts on Tuesday, you could be back reinstated. And then if you got the 12, you were out for the year. Both students and staff agreed upon the idea of 6 and 6. So everybody is eligible starting on Tuesday to make better decisions in the second half of the year to be able to get to prom and different items in the spring semester.
One of the things we do is communication is a big component of our programming. So we want to make sure that kids knew where they stood with regard to demerits. We have them sign off on it when we give them their update. So there's no questions at all based upon what they're able to do or can't do within the building or participation.
Thank you both so much. I know I could listen to you talk all day. That is fact. And so there's so much more information. I just certainly encourage you again, please submit again for the upcoming forum. That's something that folks are putting in the chat. They would love to hear that presentation at the forum again. So we would appreciate if you would do that. Every year I encourage them to apply. It's not went really well. So I just hope that
I think you deny it, Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We got
not me. Never. It would never be me. So thank you. We appreciate you so much. And I know folks have we're already into the next section. So have a great day, guys.
Thanks.
See ya.
Hey,